Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Hey, Snooch, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Nice, good. Welcome to Stranger Things Has Happened, Episode 3. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 3 today. And remind me the name of this title.
It was
Not,
something like Holly Jolly or Jolly
yeah,
Holly or
yeah,
something
something.
like that.
Holly Jolly. Was it Jolly
Holly
Roger?
Jolly. You know what? I can look
Something.
right now.
Something was Jolly.
Jolly. Let's see.
Maybe it was Holly Jolly.
Stranger Things S1E3.
That would make sense with all of the lights.
Holly Jolly.
Holly
Yes.
Jolly. All right. So this episode starts off with Barb laying on her back in an empty pool.
Yes.
All kinds of weird, disgusting growth.
Yeah, it looked like the same growth from the lab that was covering the doors, and it was like raining dust.
Well, you know what I was wondering, and I watched it twice, and I'm still not entirely sure. But
yeah,
was the rain going up?
I don't know if it was going up. It was just like
It's very strange.
Me of snowflakes.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's snowflakes or dust flakes or.
Yeah, it seemed like
it was like weird.
The drips or the whatever were going upward.
Yeah, and there's poor Barb trying to get out of that disgusting pool with the ick everywhere, that monster ick. And she's like screaming for Nancy, and Nancy is just like, getting it on with Steve.
In the other version of wherever
in the
it
other
is.
universe, wherever they are.
Right side up, I guess.
And Nancy stops and she's like, did she hear Barb?
Yeah. Now, did you notice too that sound seems to work a little different in this world? Like,
yes,
it doesn't reverberate the same.
Yeah, it's just different. But
I wonder
not sure yet.
I wonder if that's the way this scene was set up, or if that's going to be a through line, and like if.
Right, because it's just different.
There's something ominous about the way the sound seems to work.
There's some things that are predictable and other things that just aren't. So, this one, I don't know where it's going. Like, I have a small idea, but other than that, poor Barb is screaming for Nancy. Nancy's getting it on with Steve with their pants on, but that was just weird. But Foreigner was playing, and I really liked that song, so I was singing it.
Sure.
And then Barb sees this like naked weird monster with like no face and like an alien monster, and just like grabs her, and I'm like, oh, did that thing eat her?
Right.
But we don't know.
Right.
We won't know this episode. She's just gone.
So that seems to be what's happening to Barb on a regular basis. Oh, fuck, Barb's gone again.
Yep, Barb's gone again. Did anybody care? No, they cared more about having sex because the parents aren't home.
Because it's a teen movie.
Yeah, but they were having sex with their pants on, so don't ask me.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, well,
kids.
Yeah, they'll learn eventually.
Yeah.
They'll get into their 40s and they'll be like, do you want to do it? Yeah. Okay, take your clothes off.
Their shirts were off.
Yeah, they were partly there.
No Pants Club. I guess they just haven't heard of it yet in the 80s.
So the next morning, Nancy kind of swipes Steve's hoodie and bails.
Oh, it wasn't even morning yet.
Oh,
it was
like
late at
no, you're
night.
right.
Yeah, it was late at night. It's just that all the lights were shining through that window, so it looked like it was morning. And Nancy's just like, well, I'm gonna go home now. See you tomorrow. And Steve's like, because like a typical man, he's sleeping after sex. So
yeah,
or dry humping or whatever they were doing.
Right.
And then Nancy went home. and mom is there.
Right. As
Typical mom.
Waiting.
Yeah, like I felt that mom and the tears in her eyes and the anger that you didn't call me and there's missing kids everywhere, you know, and she's like, whose sweatshirt is that? It's Steve's.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just had Steve inside me.
Yeah. Moms know. And that mom knew that her daughter was not innocent anymore.
Right.
On top of knowing that she's hiding something.
Right.
Even though she's like, nothing happened. And I'm like, whatever, Nancy.
Whatever.
Sex is more important than your friend. Your friend got eaten by some monster thing in the pool.
Well, I've ignored some of my friends for some sex before. Like, it's a thing.
I don't think I have.
No.
But then again, I don't have many friends anyway. So
yeah. Well, at least she didn't say, well, then again, I didn't have much sex either.
I had plenty of sex. When Harry met Sally. Sheldon.
So the next morning, Jonathan hears Joyce in the living room talking to the lamps.
Yes.
Joyce is like...
Which was weird. She put like every lamp in the house in Will's room.
Yeah, and whose house has that many lamps?
Right.
That was a lot of lamps.
I mean, I guess in the 80s we had a lot of lamps. We
really didn't have too
many overhead lamps in the 80s.
There wasn't a lot of lighting in the ceilings back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Joyce tries to convince him that Will's talking to her through the lamps. Which he's
Jonathan
like, Mom,
thinks
you can't
she's
do
completely
this.
Lost it.
Yeah. And you would too. There's no way that somebody would be like, oh yeah, I bet he is talking to us through the lamps.
Yeah, right? Because like, who does that? Who does that?
Right.
And then we slip into what did I write there? Oh, and then we slip back to the boys getting ready to go for school downstairs at Will's house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Mike's house. And there's 11 playing with that walkie-talkie again.
Right. Like, yeah, they're kind of setting up a plan to go down Mirkwood and look for Will.
Yeah. But she's got a fascination with that walkie-talkie. So I think something's going to happen with the walkie-talkie.
She's listening for something.
Yeah. Or trying to communicate or something. I don't know yet. But they're getting ready. You know, after school, they're going to go look for Will. And there's Lucas. You know, he's got this thing from Nam. And he's got that thing from Nam. And he's got this thing. And he's got a slingshot. And Dustin, what did you bring? And he filled his bag with all the snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought
that'd be me. Awesome. I had to make sure we had snacks.
That'd totally be me. You guys need to keep up your stamina, you know.
And that was my favorite part of that whole segment. Like, he's sitting there talking to him in terms of like Dungeons and Dragons. Like, well, you have to make sure that you keep your stamina up.
Yeah. And of course, when he got made fun of, he's like, well, what do we really need weapons for when, you know, we've got Elle over here who could just like, you know, levitate him or slam a door in his face. And
right. Then he tries to get her to levitate the Millennium Falcon toy.
I screamed.
Yeah, when he dropped it.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
He just drops it.
And
then he picked it up and dropped it again. And I'm like, do you know how much that is worth?
There's nostalgia-starved grown-ups that wish they had one of those.
My gosh. Like, it like hurt me that he's just dropping it on the basement floor.
It was thoroughly painful. It probably wasn't even a real one. It was probably just a plastic molded model.
Oh, it better have been. I mean, like, oh, dude.
Because why?
Like,
I mean,
no way.
Why ruin one?
Yeah, exactly.
So we cut back to Steve and Nancy, right? They're back in school.
And Nancy's hanging out with the cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's all worried that they know that they had sex or whatever. And he's like, I didn't tell anybody.
And then she gets into class and there's no Barb.
Mm.
And
It's true.
she asked the chick, and the chick's like, "Well, shouldn't you know where Barb is?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Don't
like,
forget, though, before we go too far, fucking Steve laid a kiss on Nancy in the hall in front of everybody.
oh yeah,
Yeah, this is the first time they've had a outward facing relationship.
PDA,
Yeah.
PDA,
That's
yeah.
a big deal when you're in high school.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
But in the
for,
80s, they really didn't enforce it like they did the 90s.
no, but I mean, like, it's a big deal when whatever your
Mhm.
first PDA moment is in front of other people, you're like, well, fuck,
Yeah,
that's official.
yeah, seriously. And don't forget, she's not one of the cool kids. She's a nerd.
Right.
You know, she's just trying to be with the cool kids. So then we're looking at Hopper, and Hopper's trying to get into the lab. And they're not letting him in, and he's like, come on, just let me in. We've got a mother and the DA and this person and that person, and we have to just check it off our list. 10 minutes. So, and then it flashes back over to Elle. And nobody's home right now. I thought the mom would have been home with Holly, but nobody's home. So Elle ate all the snacks. And she goes upstairs, and of course she plays in the lazy boy.
Mm-hmm.
Then she picks up the phone, and she's like,
Mimicking the phone.
Yeah. Me. And then she turns on the TV, and then she gets like this massive flashback when she sees a Coke commercial. And it's like, holy shit. And it was a flashback to her in the lab, and that Dr. Brenner, she is calling him Papa.
Yep.
And he's like watching her intently as she uses her mind to smash a Coke can. And then her nose starts bleeding again.
Yep.
Flashes back to the TV. She turns it off. And then we're back over to Will's house. And Joyce gets the idea, it's almost Christmas time, and she looks down. She sees a box of Christmas lights.
Right.
She starts stringing them all over the house and realizes that she doesn't have enough wire to plug it in. And then we cut back over to Hopper. Hopper tells them about the sluice pipe, and they're inspecting the other end of it. He asks to see the tapes. He asks who runs this place, and they tell him Dr. Brenner. And he watches tapes, and he's like, is that it? And they're like, that's it. That's everything.
And when they get outside, he notices that there wasn't raining in the tapes, but it was raining that night.
I notice Hopper's kind of different now. I haven't seen him drink in the past 2 episodes. And he looks clean. And his hair's done. And his clothes aren't wrinkled. And he looks professional.
Yeah, he's all like snapped into being the boss again.
Yeah, which I think is really cool. I really enjoy that. And then you really don't spend more than 3 or 4 minutes with any one person before it jumps to the next scene.
Yeah.
We're at the lab again, because Hopper and the guys leave.
Right.
And then they show this weird ventilation shaft, and the camera follows the ventilation shaft, and they're in a room where that icky stuff is again. The same stuff that we saw on the pool, and that dust. Everybody is in
hazmat suits.
Yeah, hazmat suits, but that dust is flying everywhere again.
And they're like lowering a large hoist. Or a winch. It's a winch is what it is.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like, I'm almost wondering if whatever it is that's on the wall is like holding a door closed, and they're going to try and like pry it open or something.
Bust it out. It's weird. It's weird.
I don't know if that's some kind of portal between, or if there's like that's where 11's room was.
Right.
It doesn't. We just don't know.
No idea. But there was like growling. So.
Oh, I didn't hear growling.
Oh.
But maybe there may have been. There might have been growling.
It might have been, or maybe I imagined it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I would have to watch it a third time.
We're back over to Mike and Nancy's house.
Yeah.
And 11 is going up into Nancy's room.
Yes.
And she definitely gets hung up on the music box. So I don't know if there's something with that.
Right.
And then as she's exploring the room, she's looking at a bunch of Nancy's pictures she has on the wall.
Yeah.
And I was not sure, but was Jonathan's picture in there?
I didn't take note of Jonathan's picture. I did notice how she zeroed in on the pictures of Nancy and Barb, though.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
it looked like to me that there was a few pictures of Jonathan in there.
Right.
Which may confirm my suspicion that they previously were at least really good friends.
Right. I bet you they were. And then we go from there back to Nancy and Steve. And it's lunchtime. And she was so paranoid that, what are their names? Tommy and Carol were going to rat them out for having sex. And then Tommy and Carol start acting like assholes. And, they start,
being
basically
teenagers.
telling the whole cafeteria that they had sex on
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In the meantime, Nancy watches Jonathan walking down the hall in the distance. So
Nancy kind of took that situation like a champ, though.
She really did. I wouldn't have been able to handle that, but
I kind of expected something to get blown up there, and it just didn't.
Yeah. I think more is going to happen, but especially we'll get there. I'll say that later.
Right.
So while all this is happening in the cafeteria, the boys are at recess, and they're looking for rocks for the slingshot. It's got to be the perfect monster rock, and the bullies come.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Damn bullies are back. But I mean, as an 80s kid, that was part of being at recess.
Yeah, it was.
The bullies were out and about.
I remember. And, this time Mike was the one that gets shoved down, and he biffs his chin on this major rock. And what do you know? That's the perfect monster killer. Rock. That's the monster killer. Yeah.
So then we
all get really happy.
We see Jonathan developing the photos that he took in the dark room. Mm-hmm. But then What's-Her-Face walks in.
Yeah.
And sees the pictures, kind of busts him.
Mm-hmm. And he takes him down, and he books out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we kind of smash cut to Joyce's friend knocking on the door.
Yeah. Mike's mom.
Is that Mike's
Karen.
Mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Karen.
Oh, yeah, that's Mike's little sister. Yeah.
Yeah, Holly
Jolly.
And they brought a casserole because that's
what you did.
Moms do. I've done it before. Usually not a casserole. Usually a baked ziti. Usually
I'd prefer a baked ziti over a casserole any day.
I'm totally that mom.
Mm-hmm.
Baked ziti.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's too bad you can't mail baked ziti.
I know, right?
I would have it.
I would totally do that. And if I could safely can, I don't have a canning apparatus, but I would totally make you real sauce.
Real sauce.
I would send you real sauce, and then you can make your own ziti out of the real sauce, and it would still be good.
You could just send me the recipe. I can cook.
Okay. It takes a long time.
Yeah, I know. It's 3-4 hours to make a decent sauce.
At least. On a Sunday, more like 5. Anyway,
so
then we're at Hopper in the library.
Yep. They're basically searching old microfiche for trying to get an idea what's happening up at the lab. And I mean, they pretty much find out that the doctor's been up to some fucked up experiments and, pretty much what they suspected any fucking way.
And we also learned that Hopper Bing Bong, the librarian.
Yeah, Bing Bong.
And like
fuck your books.
And the other sheriff is like the librarian. And like Smooth Hopper, he's like, well, do you want to go out again next week?
Yeah, that was so funny. He's like, I mean, we could
want to go out next week?
So funny.
Oh, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, so they're looking at the microfiche, which I was like, microfiche. I used to love looking at microfiche. Yeah, it really brought back the nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, teach Padawan what microfiche is. I love that machine. But yeah, we learned Dr. Brenner is a bad man. He's bad man.
Yep.
And then we're back to Joyce's house again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to explain to Karen about, well, she's trying not to look crazy, even though like she's dirty. She looks like she hasn't slept or even brushed her hair in 3 days. And but she's not crazy because Will really loved Christmas lights, and she just had to put the Christmas lights up. And Karen's like, I don't think you're crazy. I'll make you the casserole now.
Which was weird. Like, when you bring over a casserole like hot,
I usually do, because that way, if they want to eat it now, it's already warm.
And why did the timer go off before she was going to make the casserole?
She had to preheat the oven.
Oh, fucking, there it is.
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason.
The oven. They didn't have like beep, beep, beep timers on their ovens in the 80s, Don. Yeah. It was like a ding noise.
I don't remember preheating ovens like digital timers.
I remember.
I'm sure it happened. I just don't remember.
But I was cooking at 10 years old, so.
Well, I was too, but I don't think I was baking.
Well, let's see. When I was 8, I learned how to make frozen banquet pot pies. So, I used the oven for that.
Yeah, I was a microwave.
There were no microwaves. I'm only 2 years older than you. We didn't have a microwave.
We got our first microwave when I was probably 8.
Really?
Yeah, we were early adopters of the microwave.
Wow, I was 17.
Oh yeah, we had one super early.
Yeah, I was 17 when we got a microwave. But we were poor kids. We get each other.
Mm-hmm. And I would just microwave hot dogs with a slice of cheese on them. That was what I'd have for lunch almost all the time.
I don't argue that. Yeah. I used to cut the slits in the hot dogs and shove the cheese in them.
Oh no!
I wanted all the cheese.
This was like old school government cheese. Like you didn't fancy up.
Really good.
Yeah, but you didn't fancy up government cheese.
No, it was like this giant block.
Yeah. Okay, back to the show. We gotta stay focused.
I will try.
This is not the escape pod.
It is Thursday night when we're recording, which is why it's dark and why, beer.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So there, Karen's making the casserole. Okay. Preheating the oven. The timer goes off. And she's like, wait a minute. Where's Holly? And Joyce looks up and she sees the trail of lights going right to Will's room. So she quick runs down the hall. Meanwhile, Holly is in Will's room and she's getting a big, huge light show with the 24 lamps that are in there. And then all of a sudden it goes dark and something starts to come out of the wall again, just like it was the night before. And Joyce gets in there just in time. Karen's trying to say, oh, she's an explorer. And Joyce is like, fuck you, watch your kid. She almost
wrong
like
house, motherfucker.
Like, and then she's whispering to Holly, did you see something in the wall? And she's like, yes. Like, she can talk.
Right.
She's like, basically, Joyce, get the fuck out. Or not Joyce, Karen, get the fuck out. It's time for you to go.
Right.
Take your kid with you.
So Steve confronts Jonathan about the pictures.
Yes.
They have your typical fucking alpha male, beta male fucking thing. It was predictable in the outcome, and
it was predictable, and I get it, but I really hated that he smashed the camera.
Yeah,
like,
but he has to because alpha male.
And he did have pictures of his brand new girlfriend taking off her shirt, so it is kind of like pervy weird.
Yeah.
Oh, but right before that, Nancy tried to call Barb's mom to say, is Barb there? And Barb's mom is like, what do you mean, is she here?
Right.
She slept at your house last night. And Nancy's like, oh, yeah, she's at the library. It's like, you're a moron.
Mm-hmm. Shitty liar.
Yes. And then the camera scene, and, Nancy looks like she wants to hug Jonathan, but instead sees a little teeny tiny rip of Barb sitting on the pool right before the Demigorgon went, bleh,
Right.
So she grabbed that little piece, and then, Steve beckoned her, the game's going to start soon. So she went off and left. And then we flash over to 11 at the power lines.
Yep. 11 sees a cat.
Yeah.
And then she has another flashback where she was in that lab. And I'm assuming she was supposed to hurt the cat.
That's what I got too, because she just wouldn't do it,
It seems like all of these experiments are bent on using 11 as a weapon.
Yes, that's what I picked up too.
So she was supposed to scramble the brain of the cat or whatever.
And, like Cold War weapons.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the impression I got.
So when she wouldn't do it, it looked like Dr. Brennan, was it?
Yeah, Brennan.
I don't know. Was going to have her locked up in the a naughty box.
Yeah.
Looks like all the walls are copper.
Yeah.
And as she's being locked in, she decides she's not being locked in and uses her telekinesis to smash up one dude. And then she does this quick head flip and breaks the neck of another dude.
Snaps his neck.
But then she's bleeding out of her nose and shit again.
And her ears this time too.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely used a maximum amount of energy.
Yeah. And then Papa, Dr. B, comes in and he's like, oh, remarkable, and scoops her up like his little baby. And it's like, you just want to say, get your hands off of her.
Right. But I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we flash back over to Nancy. Nancy, Carol, and Tommy are acting like douchebags again, and you know what I said to a teacher, and I told him to blow me, and I got detention on Saturday, and Nancy's like, I just remembered I have to do something. So Nancy leaves, and she finally starts looking for Barb, which is what you should have done last night,
right?
But whatever. She starts looking for Barb, and Carol and Tommy call her Little Miss Perfect. They tried. Steve seemed genuinely concerned. I don't know. Yeah, I think
Steve seems like a genuine human that's wrapped up with some pretty
with the bad crowd. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. Because, when he's with his friends, he acts like a total douchebag. But then he does things like, do you think she's okay? And they're like, oh, she's probably, afraid because you had a power trip with Jonathan. So, and then we cut over to, let's see, Elle's talking to Mike now. They're on their way. Bullied. Yeah. And so that tells us that Elle can read minds.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
Pick up things.
Right.
Because she knew that he was getting bullied and that, that's how he hurt his chin. And she reminded him, Friends don't lie. So
yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Nancy goes looking for Barb and checks her car and then goes into the woods right by Steve's house and something in the woods scares the shit out of her.
Yeah, this black shadow races across the screen.
Yeah.
So some kind of shadow monster that she saw. She goes running home. And then we're back to Joyce's house again. Joyce hears the dog start barking and she looks up and the lights start flashing. So she starts to communicate with Will. Mm-hmm. And she's asking him, blink 1 for yes, 2 for no. Yep. And we don't find out too much. He's alive, but he's not safe.
Right.
So, and I thought this was really smart.
How to communicate with him.
Yeah. So she paints the alphabet, like 1 letter under each light on the wall. Mm-hmm. I thought that was brilliant.
Right. We go to Hopper.
We go to Nancy first. Nancy gets home and she's in tears. And Mama Karen knows that she's needed.
Right. Oh, that's why that scene stuck out to you. I'm sorry for skipping it.
It's quite all right. Because poor mom has this like deadbeat husband who has no balls and taking care of like that 3-year-old and has a son with a missing friend that won't talk to her and has a daughter that she knows is fucking around and won't talk to her. And like, I gotta imagine like mom is pretty damn lonely and she's trying to take care of friends and friends are like, you got to get the fuck out of here. Thanks for the casserole, Right. So she's probably feeling like total loser shit, And
it's just funny to me that in all of this, that's the character you identify with.
It's true.
Because I don't pay her, like throughout this whole episode, I didn't pay her no mind. In fact, I didn't even know who the fuck she was for a little while.
Yeah, she's Karen. Karen.
So Hopper and his deputy are kind of tossing around the idea that there might be some foul play afoot at the facility.
Yes.
Then Hopper gets a call to the quarry.
Yes. And they all leave. In the meantime, Elle, who says she knows where Will is, leads the boys up to Will's house. And it's dark now. Mm-hmm. And she said, Will is there. And the boys are like, he lives there, but he's not home. And she's like, yeah, he's hiding. Right. And nobody believes her. And she looks like, like I'm telling the truth and nobody believes her. Yeah. But Dustin's like, guys. And the cops go racing past the house. Mm-hmm.
So then they all hop on their bikes and chase the cops.
Yes.
I don't know what made them think that they had anything to do with Will, but
yeah.
I guess, we just go along for that ride.
Exactly.
So the kids go all the way to the quarry.
Yeah.
Like you say, Joyce figures out the alphabet like light decoder thing and Will sends her a message.
Yes. And Will said, she's like, Will, where are you? And Will spells out with the lights right here. And then she's like, honey, what do you want me to do? And then and this was like creepy as shit.
Yeah.
He spells out run.
Yeah.
And just then the monster starts tearing through the wall and actually is tearing the wall open. Yep. And it's that naked alien-like thing that Barb saw in the pool that may or may not have eaten Barb. Don't know.
And at this point, I'm not sure if there's one of those or lots of those.
I never even thought that there could be more than one.
I was like, I don't know if these are like worker drone kind of things. Like if these are the minions or if there's, because in Dungeons and Dragons, there's usually minions. Mm-hmm. There's usually you got to find out the little things before you get to the big thing. It's kind of just
same thing with any any video game.
Yeah.
Like if the Demogorgon is the boss, you probably do have to fight off little things first.
Right.
That makes total sense to me. And it just totally blows my mind because I thought there was only one.
Yeah, I think we're crawling with whatever the hell those things are.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
So she starts running, like for her life, leaves the house, starts running down in pitch blackness down the dirt road.
Right.
I don't even know if she had shoes on. And then we flash back to the quarry again.
You wouldn't need to have shoes on if you saw that thing crawl through your wall.
Oh, hell no.
You'd be like, the soles of my feet are made of steel. Here we go.
Exactly. But when I moved out of New York City, I was plopped in rural Pennsylvania on a dirt road. So I learned how to walk on, dirt roads with my hobbit feet. So
with hobbit feet.
Hobbit feet. You don't walk in the middle. You walk on either side of the middle because there's less rocks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they find a person in the quarry. Everyone or the kids all think it's Will.
Yeah.
And Mike
gets... And even Hopper thinks it's Will.
Did Hopper say it's Will?
No, he said, God, I hope it's not the kid, and took a quick glance at a, adolescent type body, and then just turned his head and started walking away.
Yeah, which is why I was like, this may not be Will.
I don't think it's Will.
Because I just don't think that that's how that goes down. I gotta assume that the path that the story takes is all these kids go into the Upside Down and get their buddy.
That would make sense. But of course, like if you think about reality back in the 80s, he's going to assume that it's probably Will because Will is the only missing adolescent at this time that they know of.
And we also don't know if this kid's even got a recognizable face at this point.
Exactly. And he still has to go to the coroner, for an autopsy and everything. Mm-hmm. So they probably won't announce it until maybe a week. So there might be a few episodes where everybody thinks it might be Will.
Yeah, or we might find out next week.
But whatever the case, like Mike, all three boys start, crying, and Mike kind of tells off Elle, and Elle is like, what the fuck? Like, I'm telling you, it's not him. And they're like, Elle, you lied. You let us on. And Justin's like, Mike, don't do this. And Lucas is like, Mike, come on. And Mike just leaves. He just leaves. And again, I don't know what happened to the boys and Elle. They kind of like, that's where they were left in the episode. But Mike goes home and again walks in the door and he needs his mama.
Oh, I knew that scene was going to mean something to you.
It did. And Mom was sitting there with her, with Nancy and both of Nancy's parents in the living room. And all of a sudden...
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Or not Nancy's parents, Barb's parents. Yeah. Barb's parents are in the living room with a crying Nancy. And then Mike plows through the door sobbing and, Mom is needed again. So yay for that mom. Trying to do everything. And now she's like trying to calm this parent down. She went to help that other parent. And, now with her two kids and hopefully the little one's in bed. I didn't see her, but, it's dark now. And we left Mike's house with Mom holding her crying son.
Yeah.
And we flash over to Jonathan almost running over his mother, who is running down the road in the dark.
Right.
And Jonathan is holding his crying mother. So you have a mother and a crying son flash over to a crying mother and a son.
Yep.
And you see the cops with the lights on coming towards them, which is another thing
indication
that I thought,
it might be Will. Although
they think it's Will.
They wouldn't have their lights on to come tell them that the kid's dead.
That's true.
So that might have just been a bad choice. Thing done for dramatic effect, but like bad, like somebody didn't bother to check.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But this whole emotional scene at the end is played to the tune of Heroes.
Yes. And a slow version of Heroes, not even a David Bowie Heroes.
No.
Like a heartbreaking Heroes, because like Mom's a hero, Jonathan's a hero, the cops are being heroes, and it's just so sad. But I didn't cry, but
super good. I love this episode.
Are you hooked?
I'm so hooked. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like
this is the episode that hooked me. The first two were great episodes, but I didn't know if I was hooked yet. This episode had me glued. The whole thing. There wasn't a slow part out there.
Yep. It was great. It was great. I can't wait until next week.
I can't either.
But we are going to.
I can do it. I'm disciplined. I can do it.
And hopefully you guys out there wait with us.
I hope so. I'm so happy. There's like quite a few people going through this journey with us. So there's some people watching it for the first time. Like Scott from Used and Abused. He said he's watching it for the first time with us.
Yeah. And then there's people that are rewatching it.
Yes. We have so many friends who are rewatching it. And I've got a lot of people saying that, they really want to see us reacting to it for the first time.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
it's going to be a journey, friend. We did it.
We'll get together next week and we'll talk about episode 4.
Sounds great. And when you guys are watching this, it's going to be Saturday evening.
Yeah.
Just after ScarifCon has ended. So
true story.
I hope you had a lot of fun, Don.
I did. And I'm looking forward to this weekend and then getting together next Wednesday talking about it.
That's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. Tune into the Escape Pod Wednesday night at 7:05 Eastern Daylight Time. And
you can get the link for that at bio.link ATSW the Escape Pod. Check us out. You can find all of our stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, Kelly.
All right.
Until next week.
Till next week. Bye, friends.
Bye.